Hi everyone, welcome to webmastercampus.com. In this video, let's talk about HTML, div, heading tags, and image and how we can style them using CSS. We will also build a basic page like this, okay, using div, heading, and image tags with CSS styling. Let me open Visual Studio Code. Here we are, and let's create a directory. CSS Div Headings Image. Okay, let's create a file, index.html. I'm going to generate the boilerplate code in this one. I'm also going to create a file div.html so I can separately show you the div tag. I believe you already know about this boilerplate code, which is a code that is generated because we are using it multiple places with repeated code with little or no variation, so that's why it's called the boilerplate code. And this line of code tells browser that it's a HTML5 file. This HTML is called the root element, and you should define the language attribute, which is en over here. This is the head section, data about this page, which also calls metadata, and this body tag is about all the visual appearances on the page. Okay, so I'm not going into the much detail in this one because this is a purely CSS course, just giving you some heads up on this one, and we will particularly see this line of code when we will be learning the responsive. So I hope this will make sense. Now let's define a div tag. Okay, within div is a container, and that's why we can create any number of tags inside of it, like h1. We can create the image. We can also create another div. More than one divs are also possible inside of it. So div, any number of divs you can do this. So actually this div, the parent div over here, is a container. These are also container. Within that you can also add multiple items, like within that there will be another image, there will be another h2. Okay, so and you can have any number of copies of this as per your design. So what's a div tag? Okay, div is a content division element. Okay, it is a generic container for the flow content or just a container, and it has no effect on the content or layout until you style in some way using CSS. Okay, here in this example that is giving like there is a div tag, within that there is an image, and there are more. Okay, and how we can style them if needed. Like there is no need, just using as a container, there is no need to style them, but how you can do that, for that one I'm going to use the style tag on internal CSS, and let's create a div selector, and I'm going to give it a background color. Let's call it a aqua. Okay, and right now I'm going to just remove this part, and I think it's better to just generate a line of lorem and removing this part of the code. Here we are with multiple divs over here, and to differentiate between these divs, right now I'm using a class attribute over here, and I'm going to call this box wrapper, and these I'm going to call another class, like let's call this box1. So I'm going to use this class name with the other divs. Right, here we are. And you know why maybe you don't know, but I use this to distinguish between these two divs. Like this is the parent div and these are a separate div. So how I can distinguish in the CSS, I'm using a class selector. Class selector is a kind of selector that can be repeated, and you can use it to target a specific element. And right now I'm going to go and click refresh. You can see this is how it looks like. And to just target the div, but if I'm going to just apply this content to div.wrapper, and it's fine, and if I'm going to give it a border 1 pixel solid, let me give it a color CCC, so it's showing in the border. Now I just give it 10, you can see it's 10. Or if you want to give it red, so it's more clear now. This is how you can give a background. You can also give this box a box shadow. Box shadow is another property where you can define first offset X, okay, 5 pixel, offset Y 5 pixel, then you are going to define the blur, which is 15 pixel, and I'm going to use dark sea green, and this is how it looks like. I need to remove this border to show it, and let me open inside the browser so I can better show it over here. You can see how this look like inside the web browser. We will see, and you can, if you want to give the div dot, which is box 1, you can just give it a border. I'm going to use 1 pixel. So now this box 1 is going to apply all the child div over here, because we are referencing it with the box div dot box 1, and div dot box wrapper is this parent div. So any property that you are going to define or declaration you are going to define for the parent. So remember, we use div as a container. Now I'm going to create another file, and I need to make you understand headings. So headings.html, right, going to generate the boilerplate code, headings h1 heading 1. Okay, so you can have from h1 till h6 headings. Now let's discuss this in documentation. Okay, so here we are. The h1 to h6 HTML represents 6 level of different section headings. Okay, h1 is the highest level and the h6 is the lowest level. Okay, starting on a new line, this is the behavior of the headings. Always start with a new line because it's a block level element, and taking up the full width available in their containing blocks, like it is showing over here. Headings information can be used by web browser to construct a table of content for the document automatically, like it's a structure, and we shouldn't be using heading for the resize of the text. If you are looking to change the size of text, you can use the font size property, and do not skip heading levels while working with the headings. Like after h1 you should always be using h2, don't use h3. There they have given example over here, like h1 after h3 then h4. This is not the right way. The right way is after h1 you should be using the h2, then using the h3. So this is the right way of using it. Heading is also important for the search engine optimization, so be sure to use the right heading with the content. And you can definitely style them when you need it. You can style them like this over here. h1 and give it a proper it's already let me run this one in the browser. So you can see these headings are displaying like this, and if you want to change the color of h1, then you can use let me use dark green over here. You can see it's a dark green, or you're gonna use dark blue, or any color that you can use it. You can just utilize it if you want to give it. Okay, so these are heading, they have their own importance while using it. Then let's move to image tag, and I'm going to create a image.html file. Let me create the boilerplate code. Here we are going to remove this now, and let me add the images. Okay, I have added some images, which is over here, like convenient, fast and simple, secure, simple. Now I'm going to use this image, and if I write img:/s, it will write the syntax // And images, I have images inside the images folder. I'm going to use the fast and simple one, and you can see I'm going to run this show preview. It is going to show you the particular image that we have loaded, and this src tag is just define the address of the image where this image is located. Like this image is located in this particular directory. We are using the relative path, and there is also a concept of absolute path. One is the relative path and this one is the absolute path. Mostly we use the relative path because it's targeting your folder, dot slash referencing the folder. If I'm going to remove dot slash, it will also work because it's relative, like within the folder where this file is running, there is an images folder, then fast and simple .png file is available. And if you are using any kind of software, they might be using it, but mostly we use the relative. You can also give a alternate text if somehow images is not working, then you can use this text. Let me just show you. I'm going to add 0 over here, and you can see the file name is wrong, so it is just displaying fast and simple because I put this in the alternate text. I'm going to back to this one. Okay, now I am going to add a style, internal style, and if we want to make this image, give it some border, like border radius 50%, this image will become rounded, but I'm not interested to do that. I would like to centralize this image. For this I'm going to use display block. Okay, and margin 0 auto. So this image is now centralized of the width of the page, so it always display in the center. Previously when we didn't apply this margin 0 auto, then it was located at the start of the line. Okay, but when you apply this is one of the way to handle to centralize the element. Okay, I hope this makes sense, and now you can start writing your CSS. Now we are moving back to our project, which was here. Like I'm going to use this project. Okay, for this let's now generating the boilerplate code. Here we are, and let's first build the structure. I will also need a style.css, so let's first create a link. Then I need to create the file style.css. Here we are, back to our structure div. I am using div with a class over here, and let me just build the structure and then I will tell you why I am doing this. Okay, there's another div, and in this one I am creating a image with the, let me first take fast and simple, then I'm going to call this fast and simple over here. Then I need a paragraph. I'm generating lorem into this, and we can make it better with some proper text, but just for the testing. Then I'm going to take a copy of this. Okay, and here we are with the two divs, and let me call our convenient image over here, and after this it will look like this over here. Okay, our style sheet is connected. Now I'm going inside the CSS file, and let's start writing the tag. First I'm going to write the image, and for the image I'm going to use display block and margin 0 auto, so the images are centralized now. And for the div with content wrapper, this is a div. So why I give it, this is a class of content wrapper over here. There are multiple divs over here, and if I want to identify this particular div, then this is another kind of selector which is called class selector, and we can use this class selector to differentiate from other classes or apply any specific CSS to this. Now within this I am giving it a border 1 pixel solid, and I am giving it right now, let's call it 333. Okay, and a box shadow, 4 pixel, 4 pixel, 15 pixel, and hash 444. It will be a darker shadow. Okay, and now I need to, like, if I will open this in the browser, it is looking like that. I need to also centralize these text over here. For this I am going to use div just as and say text align center. Now they are all aligned in the center, and this border which is appearing over here is taking the full width. If you want to centralize it as well, you can give a, first you need to give it a width to this div, because this is the internal div, and I'm going to give a div. I can show you why I'm doing this. Border with a solid red, it will be look like this. Okay, so I just reduce the size of the internal div. And if you are going to, in the wrapper or div for the design, if I'm going to give it a margin 0 auto again, these will be centralized like this. And I just wanna remove this border, and instead of this one I am going to use FC, light, very light background, and then I am using over here dark sea green. Okay, so once you see in the browser, it will look like this. Oh, one more thing, I forgot about the heading, and I need to add the heading into this. For this I'm going to go back on this one, index.html. Within that I'm just adding remote desktop sharing software. Okay, and now if you look this, you can find that the design that we have just completed. So I hope this usage of div heading make sense, and with a very simple CSS we just built this design. Okay, I hope this makes sense and you can start using it. Thanks, bye.